Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Janice, are you here? Hi, Janice.
Hey Aaron, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Timmy?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you, mate. Not too bad.
Hey, how are you going? How are you doing, guys?
Hey, Kelvin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So, Timmy, are you in the office today, or?
Yeah, so luckily for us, we have the flexibility of working from the office when we kind of feel like it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes.
I've been
It's good.
going in every day, pretty much.
And
Yourself?
I'm working from home today, so yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a lot better to be in the office because you probably get about 20 people who turn up. So the office is relatively quiet and empty, and you get the joys of having two screens. So it's like the perfect world.
Yeah, one of the things for me working from home is I don't get the dual monitors. That's that's one of the downsides.
Yeah. We don't have Janice on, do we? I don't think so.
God, I'm the only one here, and I don't have to wear a mask. Like, it's so natural these days.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of the habits. Like I sense like you get in the car and then I'm been driving for like 10 minutes. I'm like, why am I still wearing my mask?
So I was on the bus last week, and I took off my mask briefly to sign into my e-banking, and I got told off by the woman next to me.
Yeah, it's literally it's become it's weird because it's become like the normal, and then I look at my friends or like the parents back home, and they kind of seem to be the complete opposite, where no one's wearing a mask and like it's getting worse over there, but no one's listening, and here we're just like everyone's wearing the mask and we have like relatively less cases, and it's just become normal for us.
So how is everybody doing under the new normal now?
Not bad, to be fair. I think personally, uh, if they could extend the restrictions to about 8, then it's fine because you pretty much go home after work and everything is shut. So,
Mm.
so, so it's pretty much your life just revolves around
Yeah,
work, home, work, home.
yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, we're good.
I feel really sorry for the restaurants and bars, right? It would be great if they could extend the operating hours to like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
Just let people have dinner. I
yeah,
personally, I don't quite get the logic. Like, why will someone get infected during breakfast and lunch but not dinner?
Exactly.
Yeah, like 100%. Like you think of it, you're just like, well, okay, it's open till 6, but who is it open till 6? Because everyone's at work till 6. So technically, why is it open?
Yeah, like scientifically, you should have some data to back this up, right? If you see, there's stronger correlation for people getting infected during dinner time, and therefore we're shutting shops early, it makes sense and it's more convincing. But just to come up with a magic number and say everyone should just shut it from 6 p.m. Yeah, just a bit unconvincing for me.
Same here. I think they need to have some sort of supporting data to back this up. Otherwise, like you said, why you think I would get infected during dinner time without lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
Or breakfast time, right?
Yeah.
And why am I only getting infected at the restaurant but not on the MTR or in the shopping mall, right? So
yeah. Oh well, it's been a strange year.
It definitely has been. It's a very interesting one. Stuff. I believe we'll kick off in about 3 minutes, just waiting on the number of participants. I think we're up to 11 at the moment in terms of guests, or 12 at the moment. Hi, Jab, how you doing?
Hi, Timmy, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
How about Kelvin and Aaron? All good?
hey, I'm doing good. Yourself?
We are very well, thank you. You're in space.
The background, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in space. Yeah.
You have an interest in space?
A little bit, not much. Just eager. What's up there?
Yeah. Chose the wrong career path, huh?
Yeah. So I think Aaron couldn't join the last meeting, right, on Friday?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I got caught up in a client meeting and couldn't join. But I caught up with Janice on Monday, so we spoke a little bit.
Oh, okay. I think we'll just give it another minute, and then I'll start with the introductions, and then we'll kick it off.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the webinar. We'll be discussing the topic, how to take the social media approach to develop your business. I am Timmy Bankole, representing South China Morning Post as the Associate Director of Operations. And with me here, I've got 4 people on the panel, which I will be introducing. We've got Aaron, who is a business leader with over 14 years of operation in the industry and advisory experience in Hong Kong and Australia. Recently, Aaron's worked as a senior manager as a former head of digital transformation as the Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants, where he successfully led and designed the customer journey and cross-functional operations of the largest accounting professional bodies in Asia. Do you want to say hi, Aaron?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting.
We've also got Diab, who's the solutions consultant with more than 10 years of experience in consulting and software engineering, expertise in Freshwork products, AppWorks, KT Black Pearl, Google, AppSheets, Microsoft, and also specialized in scoping and development of POC, solutions design and architecture. Welcome, Diab.
Thank you, Timmy. Hi, all.
We've also got Kelvin with us, who's a digital marketing veteran with over 10 years of experience in digital and performance marketing and data analytics. Kevin was also the former head of digital commerce at Young and Rubicam, and helped the blue chip clients in business and finance, F&B, and consumer products industries to plan and execute digital transformation in Asia. Hey, Kevin, welcome on board.
Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to share some more insights today with you guys.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, so as discussed today, the agenda for this panel is to discuss the approach of social media, understanding how that can be used to transform businesses. I think for us, we've seen the rise of digitization and the awareness that that's brought to the industry, understanding the data protection laws and the hassle of getting personal phone numbers in the work from home era. Salespeople have moved away from cold calling to actually start using social media tools. Even the customer service and retention teams of most businesses are now favoring the likes of social selling. So the idea for us today is to pretty much try to understand what social selling means and how to actually understand how most benefits can take that approach to scale up their audiences. So the first question which I would pose to Aaron is to try to understand why social media, why do we think social media is important for customer service, and how does it allow our customers to respond to questions and concerns, and also help build that loyal customer base? Aaron, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question, Timmy. Personally, I think social media is one of the very important digital touchpoints for customer service, and I think one of the impacts that innovation is having is making communications faster and better and cheaper. And I think it's important to corporates in at least two aspects. You know, companies that do social media channel well is a channel for them for additional revenue. And because of the networking effect on social media, the upside potential is no longer linear, like, you know, one-to-one or door-to-door selling, like our offline channels. Is actually exponential. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of martech and technologies available in the market. But I think if corporates really want to do this well, they really need to have a clear data strategy, a scalable IT infrastructure, and a CRM connected to the social media and the customer base. And back to it, and I think social media is not the only channel. It's one of the many omni channels that companies need to get better at. And a broader question, I think, is for companies to really think about how they can actually align their tech and operations to deliver a consistent experience and brand promise to the followers.
Thanks, Aaron. I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head. You mentioned there aligning on strategies. Following that, I'll pass over to Kevin to hear his thoughts on how he thinks those strategies we can benefit using social media.
Yeah, so I completely agree with Aaron, you know, in terms of, you know, how you make your social media platform a successful platform. It's a part of it. It's the data strategies and also probably the content strategies as well. But the first thing that I would like to highlight is probably a lot of people know, you know, social media has a very high penetration these days. But I just want to give you some numbers, you know, in terms of how high the penetration is and what sort of contents people are looking at, especially in Hong Kong. So out of the 7.5 million populations in Hong Kong, right, actually the median age of the social media populations, it's around 45 years old. So that means it's actually covering people with a pretty young age and also people with a sort of a more mature, with more maturities as well. And 6.8 million users, internet users in Hong Kong. That's 91% penetrations, and 5.8 million social media active users in Hong Kong. That's 78% penetrations here. And out of all these users here, with the age of 16 to 64 here, we see that 94% of them, they have a mobile device, which is entirely not surprising at all. And on average, they spend 1 hour 57 minutes on social media every single day. So that's 3 minutes shy from the 2 hours mark, actually. So that's a tremendous amount of time they spend on social media. And 93% of them, they watch the online videos, and 35% they watch vlogs. So that's originated content. So I think that's give us some sort of insights, when we build on our content strategies, how we can, circle back to the questions that Timmy had earlier on. It's how we build a loyal customer base. It's I think the way I look at it is, you have at different stage of the business, you probably have different strategies. So, for example, if your business is sort of at the earlier stage of the business, you probably want to set your brand tone right, to present to your target audience. If, for example, if you're targeting young audience, you probably want to have the tone to make it sort of more lively. Or if you're targeting, if your product is targeting people who requires deeper knowledge of your service or in the industry, you may want to run some educational social content as well to get the attentions from your target audience. So for example, at my current company at Usmart Securities, our target audience typically requires some sort of knowledge in the securities industry. So we run different types of securities or stock related education tutorial content on social media, or partnering up with different influencers, finance influencers, to go through some sort of stock analysis on a very regular basis, on a daily basis, in the video formats. And I think also the key is you need to update your content very regularly if you want to build a loyal customer base. You have your content up once a year versus your content up once a day. That's going to make a huge difference, because that's how the more frequent you have the content with your users, the more frequent you're actually communicating with your users, and that's how you build the loyal customer base. And when we talk about loyal customer base, that means people visit your content frequently, and they have trust in your brand, and also ultimately they want to engage in your service or purchase your products. So to give you some statistics here, if we engage with our content regularly, we probably receive active comments on social media. That's not only helping us to handle possible social media crisis, but also allowing you to understand more about your user behavior, and also down the line improving your product as well, based on the feedback from the customers. And in fact, that's not only helping you to improve your products. We've seen some statistics that actually 21% of the users, they actually discover a new brand through different recommendations or comments on social media. So updating your content regularly, talk to your customers regularly on social media, that's the key to build a customer loyal base, and ultimately that will hopefully turn into the social sellings in the end.
Thanks, Owen. I think that's one of the highlights with social media you just mentioned, being able to talk to those users directly, and that's where for us we see content as a strong player. Luckily for us, that's pretty much what we do. So having that ability to continue to churn out new content actually helps us as South China engage with those different audiences that we speak to. And we look at the social media strategy as one that is important for the business, especially as you mentioned, Kevin. You've got that diverse range of audiences across the different social media channels. So being able to talk to them differently actually makes you as a brand well known and keeps that loyalty with your audiences really high. I think for Diab with the whole customer support and integration, one of the key things that I think you want to highlight is ensuring you can make it all simple by connecting all those different dots together. Do you want to explain and touch a bit more on that?
Sure, Timmy. So for in terms of customer support agents perspective, maybe I'll quote an example here. That is one of our customers. They have restaurant chain in Hong Kong and in other parts of Asia. So basically, they are receiving a lot of inquiries over the social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So it was difficult for them for the support agents to reply to the multiple channels. As in, if the inquiries are coming from Facebook, they have to open the Facebook and reply. Then they have to open WhatsApp, Instagrams, and so on. And it was difficult for them. So as to cater the support agent, so we implemented the help desk application called Fresh Desk, so which has the omni-channel capabilities. So which means all the inquiries or chats from the multiple social media channel will be available in a consolidated single platform. So now when all they have to do is just open that Fresh Desk application in their mobile or in their PC, and they can see all the inquiries from the multiple channel in Fresh Desk. And using Fresh Desk, they can reply to Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. So also it provides or gives them an analytics or insights like what they have been chatting, and they can see and they can work on the service level agreement based on their inquiries and so on.
Thanks, yeah. I think, like you mentioned, one of the key things of all the different platforms is making sure we are all integrated in that approach, and every data piece is kind of tied together, mostly for your businesses, so you can understand your ROI and ensure that synergy is aligned. Which takes us to the next topic. How do we actually build a strong brand presence in social media, knowing that there are different platforms that do exist and they keep changing every day? How does a brand actually ensure they're picking the best platform for the business, and how do they actually go about building that loyalty? Kelvin, I'll go straight to you first for this one.
Sure. So I think choosing the right platform is extremely important as part of your social media strategies. Like Timmy mentioned earlier, we have different type of social media platforms every day, and I think more importantly is you see a different content populated on different social media platforms every single day. So I think the key is how you're going to stand out, how you make your content stand out from such a huge crowd here, right? So the first thing I think we need to do is first of all we need to align the business goals and also your branding objectives first, and how you build a strong brand awareness on your social media platform. That would be very crucial here, because we've also seen that if you are able to build a good brand awareness on social media, what does that mean? It means that people are actually well, they acknowledge your brand, they understand, they've heard of your brand, and I think for good branding, which also means that they understand your brands, they understand they understand the products of your brands, that's the surface of your brand, and more importantly, they have sort of an impressions. Hopefully, it will be over your competitors. So how we build a strong brand is, and that will be through, I think, through a number of different ways we can do that. It's one is start with the content, and I think the original content and also some sort of personalized promotions towards your targeted audience would be a key differentiator between your brand and the other competitors' brand. And some of the key metrics that we can always look for when we build a branding campaigns, or when we measure brand awareness on social media platforms, that would be including, the brand names, the number of mentions of your brand names, the impressions, the reach, and also probably the share of voice on social media. And once you have that, once you've sort of built the brand awareness, that's the first step. And the next step is how you're going to engage with your customers. And you need to sort of strengthen your engagement strategies, because at the end of the day, that's how you increase your customers' loyalties. And what we do is, I think one of the key learnings that we've seen, especially in a niche finance industry like Smart Securities is doing right now, is we are engaging with different social media influencers who actually have a very high credibility among our own target audience. And I think that's a key to leverage the credibilities of the social influencers to build your brand. Sometimes it could be much more effective to choose somebody who has the credibilities among your target audience, rather than somebody who may be a celebrity or some sort who is popular among the mass audience, because you want to make sure your target audience sees the credibilities with the contents that you present to them. So so that's the next thing. And the last thing, which is Timmy also mentions, is how we choose the different platforms to fit the business needs and more. I think there are multiple different types of social media platform these days, and in Hong Kong specifically, I'm going to mention some of the really popular social media platforms in Hong Kong, for example, like Instagram, very image focused. So would be good if your products is really image focused to communicate with the users. For example, your e-commerce, your e-commerce platforms, or a niche industry, and in the finance industries, that you really rely on different graph analysis to communicate with the users on different sort of recommendations and things like that. IG, Instagram would be one good platform to communicate with the users, versus Facebook and other social media platforms that's allowing you to have sort of a more text descriptions to support your visuals. That could be image or video. So if your content is some sort of article content or promotional videos that you want the users to watch the videos for a sort of a longer period of time, probably Facebook is your bet. But in terms of videos, you can ignore YouTube, right? So YouTube is a completely different platform if you compare with Facebook, at least from a user behavior perspective. YouTube videos is usually triggered by people to search different keyword phrase to land on your content. So versus the search behavior on Facebook, it's probably of a lesser extent compared to YouTube. So I would suggest, if you have some educational videos or sort of tutorial type of videos, that could be something you can communicate with the users on YouTube with the the right keywords and meta tags in place on YouTube for user to search. So yeah, so that's why I think in terms of choosing platforms and how you actually build a strong brand on social media.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think some of the things you highlighted that aligns really closely with our strategy is personalization, making sure you can actually talk to the individuals and making them have that connection between your brand and the individuals behind the screen is also good. You also mentioned influencers and trying to align yourself to build that loyalty and to build that fan base. All of this tailored to the strategies that we take. We've got something that we would define as SMART, S being for specific, specific in the terms that we have a clear goal. So as a business, you need to understand what is it you're trying to achieve and have an idea of what that expected outcome needs to be. Using the M, which is measurable, how clear can you get with that goal? And is it actually a goal that can be measured on an outcome basis? Again, we talked about the different platforms, and that moves us to A, attainable. Understanding that your goal should definitely be challenging, but should be something that you definitely, based on tech and based on probabilities, can achieve. And then how relevant that goal, which is R. Looking at the different platforms we do have, understanding what ones allow us for long form content, what ones allow us for short form content. As you mentioned, Twitter versus Facebook, how many words or how many characters can I deploy on Twitter? So therefore that would technically change your strategy on platforms like that versus if you go on Instagram, you have to be more image focused and graphic led. So making sure your strategies and objectives are relevant to goal. And then most importantly, the T, time bound. Making sure you've kind of put yourself in that constraint, therefore you've actually got yourself a motivation to actually hit that deadline. And I think for us, that smart approach, especially within the business, has helped guide us to ensure talking to that many people at a given time, but always making sure we are clear in what that messaging needs to be and what that objective needs to be based on the different platforms. And once you get to start understanding that, the platform choice becomes a given because you've got a clear definition of what you're actually trying to achieve. Aaron, did you have something to add into that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I agree with what you guys said. And I think I would like to add another perspective to it. And I think having good content strategy, having a framework to wrap everything around is important. I think equally important is to have other enablers to actually support your social media teams or your social media strategy. For example, like the framework that you brought up to me. A lot of the times people think that, you know, if they hire the smartest person on social media, the brand is gonna improve or it's gonna be successful on social media. And most of the time, it's not as simple as that. You actually need three. I consider you need three different pieces to work together in order to have an effective social media brand. Strategically, it really goes back to the DNA of the organization. What does your company represent? What problem are you trying to solve? And why does your company exist in the first place? And then organizationally, how do you actually organize yourself, your departments to deliver your brand promise, right? How do you actually get people behind your vision to be able to deliver that? And then lastly, what technologies, content, social media strategy would you use to actually enable those? And another phenomenon that I've personally observed is that I think some people get too caught up with the wrong metrics. We get caught up with, you know, how many likes am I getting from my post? You know, how many comments am I getting? How many sharing am I getting from my post? But they really overlook the economic and the market value these customers actually bring to the organization. Even though you might be getting a lot of traction from your contents, are these really the buyers for your company? So they actually buy your products, or are they just simply people just sort of stumble upon your post and just started contributing to the contents, but with no economic value to your company? So, you know, things like, you know, what are the actual customer clusters? You know, what exactly is the customer lifetime value? Your cohort analysis, and what is the average basket size? And I think, you know, aligning the social media metrics with the business metrics is also important, because very often you often have a social media team sort of just hitting underneath your marketing team, but there's a there's a great link between sort of the executive and the management level and the people who are executing your content in social media.
I think that's pretty spot on. In the digital age where everything, in a way, is measurable, I think we get to a lot of cases where everyone gets excited about measurement, and we kind of find ourselves in some cases chasing around the wrong data sets and not really understanding what value. When you look into the full picture of an ROI, looking at those metrics in actually to more business perspective is very key in this day and age. I think that aligns nicely with the next question. How do you understand content? What content do you need to produce, and how does that help shape customer service and ultimately growing the business? I'll start off this one with Diab.
So in terms of social media improves the customer service to a large extent, as it is convenient for the customers to reach the customer service team during their social time. So without the need to make endless inconvenient phone calls and so on. So it helps to build trust and loyalty through the conversation by responding quickly enough, and you show to the customers that they have count on your support and professional service. Moreover, your answers could be used not only by the inquirer, but also by the other people who might be interested in the given topic. So as a result, your message is reached to a wider group of customers compared to the traditional technologies. So that's where I would like to highlight the how this social media would improve in the customer service perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Diab. I think this aligns greatly with what we spoke about in the last one. Understanding those different channels mostly should help you shape that content that you produce. Again, as I think it was Kevin who mentioned it, that especially in Hong Kong, there is so many different platforms. That I think was just recently there was one called MeWe that just pretty much came out of overnight and pretty much had a lot of traction. And I don't think we're close to seeing the end of it. But that strategy around the content you're producing, in most cases, you can shape around who the audiences you're trying to talk to. As Aaron mentioned, defining that brand goal. Who do you represent in the market? What do you actually want to say to the people? What do you stand for? Are you going to go around the position of always social selling, or are you on the educational side where you're just educating the audiences on who you are and how effective it will be? Taking all of that into consideration and the ability to constantly talk to those users gets you very close to understanding what the pain points are. I think for us, that's a big thing when we look into the audiences. We think of how many users, if I use our Facebook channel as an example, we've got over 1 million followers on Facebook, and the ability for all of them to comment on a particular piece of content is really high. And I think for us, one of the things we have to closely keep in consideration is understanding that we can actually address those pain points when they come in. We can actually offer that personal side to the customer service, which ultimately ends up building loyalty. And once you have that loyalty, the scale at which that kind of spreads actually helps the business grow. Kevin, do you have anything to add on that in terms of some examples?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Timmy, that all start with the customer loyalty, and once you have the customer loyalty in the end, it ultimately helps you to grow the business. So I think on social media front here, I go back to your question earlier. It's it all start with the content. All start with the contents that we produce, and what sort of contents that we come up with on different platforms. That would be very crucial. So to give you an example here, so if you have the videos on social media, put it on Facebook versus put it on YouTube, that could the way that you tailor your content could be very different, because we need to first of all understand the user behavior of different social media platforms before we tailor our content. So like I mentioned earlier, YouTube, that could be mostly triggered by people who search for certain keywords or similar type of contents to land on your videos. So typically, people are that highly targeted, looking for your videos. They would look for relevant content probably in the first or 20 seconds. So you want to grab their attentions right away on if you post your videos on YouTube, and the more you do that, you start to build your awareness and your customer loyalties, and how that actually translate into the economic values of your business. Is the way I see that is how um, how much do your users understand and trust your brand. And also the one way to evaluate that is how many people or how much of your branded keyword terms are being searched on different platforms. That could be one key of how your brands are actually built over the course of time that you invest in your social media. To give you some statistics here, we've seen that the users who search for your brands will end up having 50 times higher conversion rate than people who are searching for non-branded terms. So I think that's very natural, because when you've built your customer loyalty, when you've built your brand awareness through social media or other platforms, that way people already have trust in your brands, and when they search for your brands, that's right away they are ready to purchase. They're ready to understand more about your service. So that's the 50 times higher than the non-branded terms. I think that speaks a lot. How important it is for us to build a brand on social media, and how that ultimately will translate into business value.
Yeah, I think you remember when you started and you mentioned how much time people actually spend on social. So if you and with the rise of mobile as well, so as a business, you definitely know is a space you have to be on if you want to actually engage with majority of your user base. Aaron, over to you.
Oh yeah, sure. It was fascinating to hear, Kelvin, your statistics on someone who makes a search on your brand name is 50 times more likely to purchase from the company than those who don't. And I think we also use a similar approach. We are very scientific and analytical in our approach, and I think that's also important for any company which should succeed in this domain. Having a look at customers' clusters, the probability, what are their consumption and lifestyle, so the history and patterns, and be able to feed through contents that are relevant to them, which would ultimately either engage them or convert them down in the sales channel. Just a couple of real case studies that we're currently working with, just to illustrate, I guess, some of these applications. So we're working with an entertainment company at the moment, and we're using AI to actually predict, which new movies they will most likely be interested in and purchasing a ticket in the end. And then there's another coffee chain that we're also working with, and we're using their customer profile plus external data like weather forecasts to actually predict, who will most likely try the new seasonal beverages that they're pushing out in the outlets.
Yeah, I think one of the things that for us especially that I think the resonating theme based on what we've just all spoke about is that relevance of that audience and who they actually are. They technically shape or should shape our conversations when we move forward. One of the other interesting things that if you look into the industry, is the development of tech. I think for the next question is what role the AI actually plays in that journey. One thing that is never is not going to go away is technology. That's always going to keep evolving. That's always going to keep changing, and things are always going to become a lot smoother. And AI is one of those that we've seen with the likes of chatbots recently actually taking in that space. And I think we'll start with Diab to understand some of your experiences that you may have in this field.
Sure thing. So in terms of AI, like it improves the customer service in various forms, right? So AI, we may put it up in a chatbot, or it can be in a form of big data, etc. So I'll just like to quote an example. It was a use case which we had. So that is like a patient booking an appointment in clinic via chatbot. So in this case, what happens is bot checks the calendar of the doctor and shares the available time slots to the patient. And after the confirmation from the patient, it marks the calendar of the doctor and sends a confirmation email or text messages to the patient. So all these are done without a human intervention. So this gives a great user experience to the end user or the customers and saves a lot of time as the responses from the bot are instant. So also it reduces the effort of the support agent. So similarly, the same thing can be implemented. It's implemented, in fact, in the cloud telephony system where voice bots can communicate with the customers, and they can assist them in their queries, and they can do all the back end sort of things in the databases and so on. Then if we take in terms of big data perspective, so where so what big data, it's like what it happens there is it is using data from multiple sources, like including social media channels, and AI develops built a storage of knowledge that will be ultimately enable accurate predictions about the customers that are based not just on what they buy, but on how much time they spend in particular part of the site or the store. So what they look at while they are even like what they're looking at in the particular item in the store, or so many things. So all these data is synthesized by AI. Ultimately getting to know what the customer needs and what they need. Then they suggest, then the bots can suggest the corresponding brands or the products accordingly to the customer. So this is the one way where in terms of the customer experience, or also in terms of the customer support team. So if in case like they're having some platform to maintain all these things, or some help desk ticketing system or something of that kind, there also it helps the agent in terms of the ticket assignment based on the content of the ticket, or helping the agents by suggesting the suitable solutions for their queries and so on.
Yeah, I know, Aaron, this is also something that has got a big interest of yours. So do you want to chip in on this?
Yeah, sure. I definitely agree with everything that you just said. And we have seen really good examples of AI development, in particular, a lot of areas where companies require manual task automation and prediction. We have applied AI for some companies to improve their servicing capability, being able to sort of read through the text messages from various emails, and to be able to quickly route through to the department, and therefore customers will receive a quicker service. That's an area where we've applied AI a lot. Another project that we're currently working on with a company in the property sector is helping their management team to understand whether their budgets are likely to be exceeded, or whether the business departments will be able to meet budget for the quarterly budgeting process. And so that's another area where I think AI has given a lot of value in terms of predicting what's the likely output based on the inputs that we have agreed with the business. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. I think I completely agree. I remember when I think AIs first started, and the whole concern was how robotic they were. And I think we've actually moved very far away from those times with the amount of data that we actually have that does exist. The personalized approach is starting to come out, like Kevin mentioned, like Diab mentioned. Sorry, I've been able to book things like hospital appointments with all the data you have available. And it's the same way we look at it. Like, if you have all that data, how do you create some sort of automation to actually focus the human on that more personal approach, as you may want to call it. So making sure the AI is fed with enough data to actually do that job has actually helped businesses. Which actually is actually a great transition for us into the next question. One of the things when we speak to our brands is, what approach do you actually take out to market? Are you sales heavy, like we mentioned with the AIs, are you pretty much just focusing on that approach, or are you actually taking the personal approach, which means you're educating the audiences, you're doing a lot more, you're telling stories in different ways, and you're actually relying on that content when it comes to the personal approach to engage deeply with the users, therefore driving that emotional response. So again, on this one, I'd start with Kevin.
Sure. So I think the how we send the contents, the educational sort of contents to our audiences is very important. You know, whether we do it on a teaching approach or whether we're doing on a selling or the storytelling type of approach, it's very different. And from our own experience here, because I take use smart securities as an example here, and how we because the different type of functionalities within the app. You know, we also support AI as well. You know, we have the AI smart orders helping our investors, our users to further evaluate different stocks based on our AI technologies, and instead of and also with different other features as well within the app, and instead of really teaching our users how they look at our the output informations from our AI technologies, we sort of use a more storytelling approach. I think one is because if you are doing on a teaching approach, it's users may not feel that emotions really towards themselves, and we see that when you start to do a storytelling approach, that will sort of engage more emotions from your users. So to give you an example is that um, we are constantly communicating with our users that uh, they uh, they should use our AI smart order and AI smart ranking, and to look at the different stocks evaluations, to look at the stocks performance, and how that's actually helped to benefit our users is we let them know, based on the score that they have, a sort of more personalized approach, that when they pick on different categories of the stocks, for example, like um, I don't know, maybe F&B type of stocks or consumer type of stocks, we have that storytelling approach that we tell them, oh, within these categories, and our AI technologies is coming up with the rank of this of your stock is over the other competitors within the same categories. So it's a lot more appealing to the users that way, because they see that the score is actually something that they're looking for. It's something that is very easily communicable to what they're looking for, and what they are actually seeking for within our app. So in the end, we see that there's a lot of sort of emotional response. What does that mean? It means people are actually thinking they the response is actually very positive, that they think the AI is actually outputting information, outputting data that is very close to what they are looking for. So in the end, at the end of the day, it helps with the selling. In the end, it encourage more transactions, encourage more tradings in the end. So that's how I see that, with the storytelling approach that is more personalized, that is towards the person, not so much on the teaching side of things, that will help to engage more response, and ultimately go into business.
Yeah, I think that is definitely aligned with the strategies that we believe most our brands should be taking. It's that perfect combination of the personal approach and the sales approach, pretty much merging both of them together. You made some good, some really strong points earlier when you spoke about the search keywords, understanding what people actually have been looking for in your search terms. So the combination of that storytelling, highlighting some significant words, understanding what people actually affiliate with those words, and then using that as your sales tactic. So again, pretty much based on what Aaron said, again, not just looking at that overall wrong metric. So defining what that KPI should be, looking at that data to understand the keywords that people affiliate themselves with, and then building that to a sales approach. But I think for us, the two of them is not none is better than the other. Is a strong combination of both. We actually see helps brand to actually achieve the ultimate performance. I think to getting close to wrapping it up now. If you look at pretty much everything around what's going on, I think social media is pretty much becoming very important in our businesses. Working from home is technically becoming the new normal. Luckily, I'm in the office today, but predominantly spend most of the whole year working from home. So I think the last question for us is how do brands actually tap into the fact that we're all working from home and majority of people using social media, and most especially, what has that done to the business strategies of our companies in this new normal? I'll start with Diab on this.
Hi, Timmy. So under the new normal, social media is becoming more significant, right? So according to the online research, the social media consumption has increased by 89% post-COVID outbreak. For instance, our company, Master Concept, we are a technology advisor. So after the outbreak, we are forced to start changing the engagement method. We are much more focusing on the content marketing and influencing marketing. So the number of blogs we write has greatly increased. So it has been doubled or tripled per month. Also, our company has started operating the YouTube channels, to favor all these conditions. And the content of the videos is more focused on remote work recommendations and the product application introductions. So this has led to a great increase in our customer inquiries about the products through the social media channel, which we are currently doing at the moment.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep. So I think under the new normal, it's circle back to what I pointed out earlier. It's that how we gonna make the content stands out from the crowd. That's probably one of the most important things. So business strategies to operate under the new normal, because under new normal, which means we've got more traffic from different social platforms. Over different period of times, and at USmart right away, in 2020, back in 2020, right away we already knew that social media was one of the main battlefield under the new normal. So what we've done is, I think we can also share with different people as well. It's the original contents that we create. We invest a lot of resources to build a lot of original content on social media. That could be ranging from video contents, could be ranging from our original video shooting with our influencers, different engagement posts, etc., and different articles contents that we put it on social media to communicate with our users. These are the original contents that we create, and we see that we are actually through all these contents, we're building a strong, loyal customer base. Under the new normal, we kind of take the advantage of people are staying home a lot more often. Actually, we are receiving a lot more social signals under the new normals, that and more users and more traffic from our social media. and like I said earlier, it's, once we do that, once we've done all these brand building and brand awareness on social, the rest of the things sort of kicks in themselves, and that's including, people will start considering your products, and people will start more more engaged with what you're selling to them. They will start to trust your brand, and for the contents that you present to them, they will share with their with the friends, and with the people that they know. And I think more importantly, like I mentioned earlier, uh, a good way to communicate with the users on social media will also help the users to put some good recommendations on social media. And in the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, 21% of the users, they are actually seeking or understanding new brands or new products through the recommendations or comments on social media. So that will actually circle back to what we are ultimately looking for, which is the social selling parts.
Yeah, thanks very much. I think one of the quick summaries I'll try to make is also looking into, if you understand, we've seen since, I'd probably say since the start of last year, that increase from live events actually translating itself to the likes of what we're having now, webinars. So that for us as the business, the events business, or events game, as I'd call it, has pretty much had a complete shift of focus, which has played rightly into the social media platforms. We've seen Facebook Live, we've got Insta Live, and all these platforms are actually are benefiting from the live environment. And if I'm being honest, I see that becoming a norm moving forward, not just from a cost saving, if you look at hiring a whole hall, to pretty much the fact that you can actually get a majority of the people and still get really good engagement by actually doing it this way. Plus, I think for us at SMP, we've actually benefited a lot from that, because we've seen a lot of traction move towards this platform, and also the fact that we can engage with that audience while this is going on has also been really significant when we look into the new norm. Anything from you, Aaron?
No, I completely agree with everything that you gentlemen have said. I think moving forward, I think digital knowledge is to be expected for everyone, regardless of what profession you're in. I think over this call, we have shared a number of different examples of how technologies can actually I guess enable strategy, operations, customer service, and social selling, etc. So I personally, I would strongly urge everyone, regardless of what profession you're in, to understand the implication of technology has on your job and also on your industry. And I think one of the key implications that COVID has last year, and probably a large part of this year, is that it is challenging our status quo a lot quicker than everyone had imagined. And if this working from home, I guess, model continues for certain sectors, it would mean that we're no longer, challenging. I guess we're no longer competing with local talents. We'll be opening ourselves up to, worldwide talents. Talents will be working from home, from Spain, from Europe, etc. So I think just getting yourselves skilled up and getting yourselves a better verse in the digital space, and understanding how you can actually use technology as a lever to augment your strategy is extremely important.
I think that's a good point. One of the things that, as you said, that sprung to my head was that global scale that this actually opens up. And I think that's one of the things that I completely forgot to touch on, as the fact that this social media gives you access to people all over in different countries, different regions. So, for example, ourselves in Hong Kong, having users in the US, having users in the UK, having users pretty much in different parts of the world, actually helps to broaden your audience base, and actually shows you different types of engagements based on the different regions your audiences may be. So it actually helps your business strategy, and to understand that your customers or your audiences in the different markets in which they sit. I'm really conscious of the time, so I'll try to do a quick summary. I think for us, for businesses, the key things that we believe you should focus on is humanizing your brand. So putting that personal face to the brand, watching that competitive space, so understanding what your competitors are doing, having that clear goal and that clear mission is also necessary. A/B test is also something that definitely you need to take into consideration. And I think for us, one of the most important things is having that social media calendar, so you actually know what is being planned for the different communication sprints on the different timelines. I want to open the floor now to questions from anyone on the floor. If there are no questions at the moment, oh, is that a raised hand? I can see. If there are no questions, I'd like to say thank you very much to Kevin, who is the Senior Growth Marketing Manager at USmart Securities. Thank you very much, Kevin, for jumping on and having this discussion with myself.
Thanks for inviting. It's been my pleasure to share my insight with everybody here.
Thank you, Diab, who's the Senior CX Solution Consultant at Master Concept Hong Kong Limited. Thanks for jumping on, Diab.
Thank you, Timmy. Thank you all for having me and listening to my my content, which I could share with you all. Thank you very much.
No worries, anytime. And thank you, Aaron, who's the Engagement Director at EY Business Transformation. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you, Timmy. Thank you, Calvin. Thank you, Dijab.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Have a good day.
You
You
too.
too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That's the end of the webinar. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.